Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk about what may seem to be three rather unrelated topics. One, why talent really does matter. Two, why autistic people have limited interests. And three, why a 70-year-old autistic work colleague is absolutely, despite being in poor health, is absolutely refusing to retire. So I just give a quick backstory about me. I was, yes, I had developmental delays pretty severe early in childhood when took me 18 months to learn to walk. So and I guess I hear 90% of kids learn to walk prior to 17 months, and generally it's considered you got a problem if it's taking you longer than that. Took me 4 years to learn to talk, and I guess I had all the typical autistic tendencies of stimming and things like that. My parents had me evaluated, and I don't know what really came of this, but other than they said that I was probably a year behind normal development. I was probably 4, and that I needed socialization work. So they recommended I go to preschool. So I went to a preschool. The first one I went to, I guess I had a meltdown there. A teacher there asked my mother, said if I had a brain damage or something wrong with me. So, yeah, that was pretty upsetting to her. Actually, all of my early childhood was pretty embarrassing and humiliating. It just seemed like it was a discovery of all the new things I couldn't do. So obviously I hated school a lot. Okay, here's a chart to visualize what I'm trying to explain here. You see this meme, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. Well, let's explore this in my experience. So here's a bunch of activities, and there could be many more, but ones that come to mind. And then here's a talent scale. So if we just say that, this is arbitrary, let's just say talent is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being good, 1 being bad. And I would say from my experience, the benefit of hard work on this scale is about 2, so you can move up 2 levels from wherever your baseline talent is. So I will not go through all these items, but I will point out that STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, math, that's this one here, I was talented enough to at least hold my own. I wasn't a star in this, but I certainly wasn't the worst. I mean, probably was about average-ish, I would say. So, and I would say, hey, I love my long hair. So I'll give that average. Maybe, well, as a child it would be average. Maybe now it's even a 7. So that's why I like my long hair. The other item is chess. And why I put this up about a 4. I asked my father about 10 years ago. I said, what do you think I'm actually good at? And after a long pause and thinking about things, he came up with chess. So here's kind of a funny story. I did join a chess club in middle school. So no surprise there. A desperate look for something I could maybe be decent at. We entered a chess tournament, and I remember I lost every match except the last one. The last one was just a draw. So basically I did not win a single match, and I don't know, I guess that wasn't fun for me, and just kind of sealed the deal that maybe I'm not really that great at chess. Then if we go over to here, which is running, as I showed in a previous video, based on my early performances, I probably was performing at the 35th percentile, meaning 65% of people are better or more talented than I am. So I gave myself a 4 on that. So, and then, I would say everything else I would say is 1 or 2. I mean, I've always seemed to be the worst whenever I get into these social situations. So, yeah, here's the problem. I think to really be able to socialize any of these activities, and I don't mean, I'm going to say socialize, I'm speaking in terms of monetize, thinking in terms of that context, not the political one. I think you need to get to like the 6 or above. This is where you can do something confident enough to have friends and do stuff with it. And here's the problem, when you're at the 1 and 2 level, at most of all of this stuff, you add 2 to those, it puts me to 3 or 4, which is this curve here. And you notice that probably all of these, except for 4 items, I'm not going to be good enough to do in a social setting. And that sucks. Now, I get it that if you're an average person, that's probably, you're probably going to score 4 through 6 on all of these things. You add 2 to all of those, that takes you up to 6 to 8. You can socialize all these activities. And so that's great. I mean, yeah, there I would say that sure talent or hard work is going to be very useful for you. So this is my concern in retirement is that if you of course take away the STEM from me, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be able to socialize most of any of this stuff, and I'm afraid of being kind of alone. And so now this ties into the question of autistic people having limited interests. Well, this probably is why. I mean, we like to do what we're good at, and we generally don't want to do what we are not good at. So you spend your autistic life, certainly me, you're trying to find what can I do that's like not the worst in the world, and so you find those 1 or 2 things you can do that you feel kind of relevant. You just kind of focus on those. So that makes a complete sense. And then also, as I say, my autistic work colleague, he probably has a very similar performance talent profile like this, and he says he's never going to retire. Yeah, to talk about my autistic work colleague, he's not in good health. I mean, I know he's has leukemia right now. He's 70 years old. He has started collecting Social Security. He has his house paid off. He lives pretty simply, and it's not about money. I guarantee you that. And he's afraid of getting COVID, so he never comes out of his house, and the work has accommodated him. So I guess the only way he's feeling relevant is just through his work, which is, again, we have STEM jobs. But he's, I mean, and his social connectivity, even through his work, is through basically email and Teams meetings on Microsoft. I mean, he doesn't see anyone, so and anyone, I'm sure, any retirement person would say, "Bro, you gotta retire. Your health's not great." But yeah, that's just. But I understand why he feels this way, and I worry about this myself. Is that I don't know if I can socialize a lot of these different activities. I mean, what's awesome about retirement is that even though I like my job, it's very rigid. The rigidity of the scheduling is something I think we all want to break free from. And plus, I don't know if we all want to be consuming. When you count lunch and commuting, and even if you're just working the 8 hours a week, you're commuting. Committing probably like 10 to 11 hours each day to just one activity. And in my case, I don't even consider my activity particularly socializable. And I've even complained to my bosses about this. I do feel a lack of social connection here, and I realize this seemed to really accentuate probably after my wife passed away, and this hybrid work environment we've gone to. So even though I do go into the office, and so do most people on my floor on my work, but the thing is that it feels like we're just all coming and going at different times. We're allowed to work at home some of the time, and which I kind of appreciate that, because it helps give me the flexibility, but at the same time, it's just not the same. Yeah, so this is a concern I have for myself going into retirement. I mean, when I look at what can I do where I can socially integrate, and right now it's probably just my calisthenics training. I seem to be able to at least do that well enough for now. And I guess a special challenge for me is that the activities I do seem to want to engage in, the people doing it with me are like half my age, and I'm declining, because of the age. And I mean, I'm going to decline more in 1 year than they will in 10. I mean, that's just biology. So, I do think about this, and anyway, I hope you found this worthwhile, and I appreciate any suggestions. And say, have a nice day. Bye.